went over there for. But Peter went to mow the lawn, and she's like,
he asked if he could mow the. Yeah, he went asked if he could mow the lawn.
Greg went to get the mail. And
that's right.
In the front of his pants, and she was like, "Oh, you're so big now." I was like, "Oh my god, you have to make this a hard R. Like it's already there."
Yeah,
messing with him, and she's just like, "Yeah."
Because these are supposed to be minors in this movie.
They are. And then Peter comes and like, "Hey, look, can I mow your lawn?" She was like, "Ooh, 2 Brady's." Like, and I was like,
"Oh." She said, and after that, I can let you help me make a sandwich.
I had to write that one in my notes. He offered to help for them to make her a sandwich.
Help.
And I realized she was being very little about making her the sandwich. And I was like, my God.
I didn't even realize that.
It's just...
Okay.
All right, everybody. Welcome to our final episode of Small Screen to Big Screen Families. We are family, bringing you all the family fun. Family fun. I'm so good at this. I'm so good at this. Anyway. So where are we at? Like basically, like, okay, so we did the Flintstones. We did Addams Family. And now what are we doing, Ma?
Now my pick was a Brady movie.
Why?
So, well, number one, remember, because we had mentioned it, and then Jonna was like, "What? No, she had never seen it." So kind of like that was one of the main things, and why not?
Okay. No, I agree. I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't do this movie. It's just ridiculous enough to fit the motif, and it is over the top as it can be, and it raises a lot of questions for me. So I have so many.
Yeah.
So I did want to, since I just learned how to do this thing. I wanted to play this little ditty right here.
The world we know has changed.
95 though.
Wow.
But the Bradys never will.
So,
with Mike.
Are they an escape cultist? Like, what's happening?
I was like wondering too, like, because they said they've always lived there, right?
Yeah, but see, that's the
thing.
What
is always?
that's the question. Either they're never aging vampires.
Cindy.
Why don't you hop back on the Swiss Miss package where you belong, huh?
Okay.
Swiss Miss.
Lunch looks pretty rank. What'd you bring? Pork chops.
That was hilarious.
Jan.
Hi, everybody. It's the new Jan Brady.
Oh my God.
Marsha.
Dinner's ready.
Hi,
I'm sure no one will ever notice. I'll never be a teen model.
And Alice.
So dramatic. That's Mom.
Marsha did it again. Marsha.
This is something. This is something. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm wondering, like, because I don't understand. Are they an escaped cultist? Because the whole thing is weird to me, because it's like when the show came out, it makes sense. Okay, they live in that time, so that's just who they are, right? They're just
right.
They're the focus of their focus is not because they're weird, but because they are a blended family.
Right.
This is just because they're weird.
Yeah, clearly is.
Yeah,
they're weird, and like, why are they like this in this time?
Like, did these kids not grow up in the same?
That's what I'm saying.
School?
Well, they did. You saw that.
Well, but that's why I'm like, they have to be escaped cultists. They have to be like they escaped from a cult or something like that, or I don't know, man. It's just like you. It's like you need a backstory to the movie, unlike the show, which totally made sense. It's weird that it does that, because like obviously if you watch the show, everything is pretty much right there. This man had 3 kids. This woman had 3 kids. They got married. That's the family. But here it's kind of like, okay, the man had 3 kids. The woman had 3 kids. They got married. They're a family, but also somehow they're stuck in the 70s, and not just stuck, but like the things that they listen to and do is like it's actively happening right now.
Right. Right.
Like, where's she writing Davy Jones? You know what I mean? Like that joke doesn't work anymore. Like I just don't. I forgot. Like I think I had only seen this movie twice, maybe.
Oh gosh.
I remember now, like that I did not like it.
Yes, same here. I was like, I have seen this. This is weird.
I was disappointed too because the sequel is the one with all the like really funny stuff where it's like the great Marsha awkwardness.
Yeah.
That's when it gets like at least funny. At least they're really poking fun. Like right here, they're not really. They're kind of doing stuff, but
they're throwing stuff out there, but very subtly. You know, like it would definitely go under the radar, and the only reason it would even cause any stir to those who know the show and all these different episodes, because everything in this thing was taken from episodes.
Yeah,
so,
no, definitely. That's the thing. It feels like this movie is 3 specific episodes on top of each other, because it's definitely, well, it's like, because you have every episode usually has like 2 plot points anyway.
Right.
So the main plot point is this house thing, and that's the main thing. But it really gets put to the back burner because this movie is about Marsha, like legitimately.
Well, and then that's the thing. It has running themes that, in other words, we're running 3 themes throughout the series, but not really. This is, in other words, during the show, they never would have looked at it like that. This is now the take of everybody looking at it now and saying, "Oh, Marsha was the golden child." It wasn't really. There was a couple of things like that, but not to this degree. So they really do, turn it up on that for sure.
I like how they get like deep about it. They run away with it. The inner voice.
I think. Oh, the you talk about Jan psychosis? Like, yo, what? That was.
Well, I mean, now actually, they all had that at some point. Yes, and that's the thing. But I think for her, it might have been a little more because she was always upset about stuff, and I think she did have that middle child syndrome. But again, this just turned the notch up a lot. You know what I mean? But it was definitely a theme that was underlying. I don't even know if they meant it, but it probably in that time, just like things of any other era of movies or whatever, how that thing seems so normal that today we'd be like wincing at.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. You know what I mean? So it's like now we can poke fun at it, but it was like they really were like hyping up this Marsha character and making her like she was so gorgeous and perfect. And then of course Cindy was the little sister, so she was the cute little girl. So then there was Jan, the middle sister. So
I think like let's start diving into it because
let's dive in.
We get this over the top 90s LA opening. Did they live in LA in the original show? Was that a thing or no?
They did, but they never said it. But it was.
Yeah, because I never would have got that from that because I mean. Well, I don't know what LA in the 70s looked like anyway, so it's not like it's gonna matter to me. But yeah. So was this show the 70s?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was. It was the
like tail end of the 60s.
Yeah, early 70s, I think.
Okay. Well, we get
again
over the top like 90s LA montage, complete with like grunge dudes all over the place. Like there's grunge.
It was super 90s.
It made it seem like everybody else was grunge.
And that's the craziest thing because I grew up in the 90s and grunge was like isolated. You know what I mean? It wasn't like
they made mention of Seattle. They had
to get that out there. Like, oh, we need grunge, Seattle stuff, blah blah blah. He was like, well, they don't have rainbows in Seattle or something like that. I don't remember.
Everybody at the high school was grunge.
Everybody except for the big man on campus dude. He was just like shirts and pants.
I can't even say he's a jock.
It was like preppy or something. I don't know.
Supposed to be because it's ill-defined. Everything in this is ill-defined.
How is he the cool dude? He's not even grunge, and everybody else is grunge.
So the first episode aired in 1969.
Yeah, see, tail end,
September 1969.
Okay, so late 60s,
Yeah.
early 70s. But yeah, so we get it. Basically, there's this dude. He's obviously trying to sell the block. You can hear the guy like, "Hey, I need to own the whole block. I just need." He was like, "We've got everybody. We just need one house." And he was like, "It's the Brady's." And he was like, "Well, what's their story?" And then we get the theme song,
Here's the story.
which I never remembered how long it was, but that makes sense because all those shows had really
Oh
like.
yeah, every show. Yeah.
But it was funnier to me because it was like all the theme songs are explanations for the show. Like Gilligan's Island was telling you everything that happened. So we don't need a first episode. We have it right here. What do you need it for?
Yeah,
Like, okay, so this is
gave
what the
an
show's about.
essence of a story of the person. Like wouldn't even know this song, but it's was it Mary Tyler Moore? And it was like her being this independent woman back. This is in the 70s again, so it's like you're gonna make it after. I mean, it was a whole song. Who can da, 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 da. I mean, I loved it. I kind of missed that with shows. I mean, maybe they don't have to be so long, but I liked them.
Now we need more. We need more. I don't like because like now any show you get, even like especially like if you watch a show like that's made for streaming like HBO Max or Netflix or something like that, they're just like the title card and then show. And I'm just like, that's why I feel like a lot of times it's hard for me to connect because I connect with memorable things. So it's like the intro is like dope, I'd be like, okay, I'm here. Like at least I'm interested. Like at least you have that's why I like Peacemaker. I don't know if you've been watching, but that intro is one of the best intros of all time.
What is that?
That's the John Cena spinoff from Suicide Squad.
Oh, get up. Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really good.
Okay.
I would suggest it. It is fun.
Okay. Probably won't get to it, but yeah.
No, you should.
I'll check it out.
Finish watching Titans, you can get to this show. You'll be fine.
Okay, that was forever ago. But anyway, so they have their long theme song, of course, which tells the story, and then Jonna with the notes. She didn't even have them in that moment because she said, "Oh, we should be writing this down."
No, but I do have a little bit. It's like it gets to the point like they're getting ready in the morning. Well, they're trying to. They got one bathroom.
Well, yeah, they do the Marsha hogs the bathroom gag.
Yeah. Typical. So everybody's trying to get in the bathroom. Then you got you're introduced to Jan and Marsha's kind of relationship where she's about to take these socks or whatever, and Marsha's like, "Yo, those are my socks." Well, she didn't say yo, but she's like, "Those are my socks," and she's like, "No, they're not." And she opens her drawer. She's got like a whole bunch of rolled up socks and one empty spot, and she's like, "See, they are my socks."
So we're here to imply that all her laundry is clean 100% of the time. Like, how does we know she didn't wear that sock? Or she's not wearing them now? We don't know. we don't know. Like, I don't know if that's a good indication of whether or not your sock was stolen.
I don't know if she stays neat like that. I think so because that's me.
Yeah, that's all.
Then, this is the first instance of Jan psychosis where she's like, where she's got the voice in her head basically be like, "Oh, Marsha gets everything. Marsha's so perfect. Marsha this," and she's like, she does a little head twitch thing. The whole movie, it's a little creepy.
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna go off.
No, when she shut the drawer real hard, and then the trophy shut. She's like, "I closed it."
Yeah.
She was all proud of herself.
She should be, definitely. But one of the things that happens here too is we get a lot of the stuff. We meet this dude, Detmeyer, who is the real estate agent who's trying to get
Detmeyer, I think, right?
Detmeyer. I called him Detmeyer. I don't know.
I think it's Detmeyer.
Well, he's the bad guy. And he's basically he's trying to get them to sell the house or whatever. But before any of this happens, we send Cindy over to get the mail from them. And this is we have 3 episodes so far, and all of them have instances of swinger energy. And this wife 100% gives me swinger energy.
No, she is. It's like, heavily implied.
Through this whole movie. Not only that, but she also gives pedo vibes. So it's like that's not bad. That's bad. Like she's got it all.
It was pretty inappropriate, to say the least.
I would say
that was definitely they were going for that.
Yeah, because she's like there. She's just like, oh, because Cindy talked with the lisp or whatever, and the dude can't understand her. Which chill, dude, it's not that bad. But he was like, what? And she was like, she wants the mail. And she was like, "How's your dad?" She was like, "He's good." He was like, "Tell him I'm gonna go wrap his package for Christmas." And I'm like, "Wait a minute."
Right in front of him.
I was like, "Well, my thing was, what's the rating on this movie? Was it PG-13?" It's pushing it because they do it a couple of times with stuff like this.
It's highly explicit in a low key way.
Yeah, there's a lot of jokes.
Yeah. Oh no, she didn't do that in front of her husband though. She
No,
her
No,
husband
he had
walked
walked
out.
out.
to get the mail.
And he's always getting instant karma because when he walked out, his drink, like he had an alcoholic beverage on his treadmill where the cup holder is. He's running, and so he walks away, and the drink spills on the thing or whatever on the treadmill, and she doesn't say anything, and she just walks off. When she gets the mail, and he slips on it, and that's like one of the first. That's the first time he gets the instant karma because he still gets some along the way.
Well, he pretty much deserves it because it's like I don't want to say that he's a bad guy because at first it's like, okay, this is just a guy doing his job or whatever, but he's kind of a douche, so it kind of
Yeah.
has all that stuff coming. Because
Yeah, he's an extreme one.
we also get obviously the montage of all this stuff happening, all like the kids coming down and each of their own individual personality. Well, kind of. We get Bobby's a safety monitor. That's his whole deal. This whole thing. I think he's only in like 3 scenes in this movie. So
He didn't really have much.
And then you have Peter who's going through puberty, and that's his deal. And
and that was a whole episode.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this thing is like 6 episodes on top of each other. It's like because then you got Greg's story is
Kyra.
Yo, what is happening?
I know. I heard that. That was my fault.
How dare you, Mom?
Oh, you heard it?
Yeah. Turn your ringer down, lady.
We get
okay.
He's right. He's apparently a musician of some sort, writing a song for this girl who doesn't really care for him at all. And then Marsha's problem is that she has no problems. Her problems are she's got 2 dudes that she's to a dance. If I ask her to a dance, Jan's problem is Marsha, and he also doesn't have any real problems. She's just here.
Yeah. It's like, do I even exist?
I don't know, probably not. But and that's when we find
that's a good sequel one day and be like, there never was a Jan.
Right? You choose Marsha's psychosis because she's the only one who really talks to her like that.
To make herself feel better.
Right? Oh, that would be like nuts. So, dude, it'd be like Snuffle Up. It'd be
scary.
Crazy. This was great. That's if we ever decide to do the darker version of the Brady Bunch, we know we go psychosis. That's the best way to do it.
For some reason,
Jan is a figment of her imagination.
I would allow it. I'm 100% okay with it.
Yeah.
But, okay, so then we find out that they owe $20,000 in taxes in house taxes, which is like
Hold
kind of
up.
weird because like how do you not know that?
Hold up.
No, hold up.
I want to talk
because they didn't get the mail.
The snitch talk. How her dad was like, oh, what did she snitch about?
She told that I don't know, something about Bobby.
The first thing, what was it?
It wasn't important to write it down, but he is, but you're right. He is kind of like, now Cindy, no one likes a tattletale because when you're telling on yourself, and then if you're telling on you, like he does, and that's like the end of every episode, he drops a gem.
Yes,
yes,
it's true.
So he does that a few times.
And then the wife always says, "You're right, Mike."
Yeah, he's kind of just like, now Cindy, stitches get stitches. We don't want any of that. It's like, yeah, he's just dropping gems all over the place. Like,
hey, right?
And which is weird because once again, the parents aren't in this movie nearly as much as you would think they would be in this movie. But they're kind of like background characters almost.
Yeah.
Right, but with more, more impact.
Yeah.
When they're in it.
Because I felt there's a lot of Marsha in this movie, which is fine, I guess. I mean,
but honestly, and again, in the show, that's kind of how it was, and that's why they showed those things. You would see them, in the kitchen, talking with each other. You'd see them in the bed, reading a book and doing. I mean, all of that was definitely how the show, and it would usually be conversations that had something to do with some of the
Boys.
kids or
Oh,
and stuff that was happening with them. So it really was about the kids.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But
the
the
Brady Bunch, that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah,
We
yeah.
get what we like, we get to this school and then we learn this is where it's like not even the school, because there's a part two when Cindy goes to the neighbor's house, she goes through that little side door or whatever.
yeah,
And
yeah.
even like the filter on the camera changes to like,
Yeah.
here's your little happy fantasy. Here's reality, motherfucker. Like,
Right.
Yeah. The camera view is a lot
Well, you
different
know
in
what
their
it's doing?
house or just them than it is
Yeah,
when they're
yeah.
out and
It's kind
about.
of like Charlie's Angels. You know how they did everything in a certain vein because that's it, and put it exactly like how it was when they were like that. So everything like that whole thing about, remember when she would told her to flip her hair, you know, and she's like, flip your hair, flip, and then they did that slow mo with her hair going, you know, it's just
Mhm.
they were trying to bring the vibe,
I get what
but
you're
let
saying,
you
but
know it's different,
the
huh?
thing is with Charlie's Angels is it's completely different because they're in the time that this movie is. They're not
Yeah,
like in the set. That's why I was
no,
like filter from
but
like
they found a way to bring that same 70s campiness to it,
no,
even
I
so.
get, but
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. But
yeah,
I don't think this isn't the same. I think this is like them being like the joke is the Brady's don't know it's the '90s. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah. No, obviously.
like, oh, they don't understand what's going on out there, which is why I think they're escape cultists. Because it's just like there's no other way to explain what's going on with them. Like, come on, man. Like, okay, apparently they've been going to the school for a while. People know who they are. It's not like
Like,
they're
they don't have that at the school.
yeah, you know what I mean. So it's like, and then
Are
he
they gonna?
house is this he built this house brick from brick and all this other stuff, and so they've been here.
Yeah,
What is going on? Are you just like not paying attention? Or are you just like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
no?
yeah. That's it. That is
Don't
the
get it.
mystery of it all. I think maybe that was left to interpretation. You know, for everyone to think like, what is the story here? Why are they stuck in the 70s and they're fully 2 decades
And you know
later?
what?
You know,
What's funny because Dittmeyer, the guy, the neighbor, he's like trying to convince them to sell their house or whatever, and it's because he knows they owe or whatever, and he
well,
was
no,
like,
that's not
oh,
why he was
you can
trying to
move.
convince them to sell at first because
Oh yeah,
he
to
was trying to get
sell.
everybody to sell because
Yeah,
somebody wants to buy up that whole area.
yeah, and he was like, he mentioned like, did he say Utah or Nebraska or
Yeah,
I was
something?
like, yeah, I think you would love Utah or something. He said.
he does. He makes a joke like that. He was like, yeah, I was like, Utah's got great housing. I hear you people would love it there. And I was
Yeah,
like, is that a Mormon joke? Like, was that
Yeah,
that's what I. Yeah,
and
because
you
they
know
got
what's
all them
crazy though?
kids.
I was
Like,
like, oh come on, that's low hanging fruit. Even for this movie, that's not a good one.
hey, but
Yeah,
you like, I thought about something. I thought about another movie, like in regards to like questioning what time this is in, kind of.
Right.
I thought about the heck, Napoleon Dynamite.
oh my god, same thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Because
yeah.
what the hell time is that? Like, it seemed like it was not long ago, but then it does in
it's,
some
it's
ways.
funny too because like you when you mention Napoleon Dynamite, it's weird because there's at least four characters who play
No,
into it, while the rest of them are like, what the fuck is happening? Right? It's
right,
like
right, right.
Ian is stuck. His brother, obviously, Kid, the
His
girl,
uncle.
his uncle, and the girl he meets. Even like,
Yeah.
what's the dude, his friend, the dude who ends up becoming his friend is kind of still like, oh, I'm just hanging with you, but I'm not with you. I don't understand what you got going on, kind of deal. Those characters are all part of the same psychosis where they're all like having the same hallucination of being stuck in a different time or something. I don't understand. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's weird.
this does the
It,
same thing because we see it like the school is the greater contrast because it's like the dude coming up is playing rap music, generic, random ass, nobody knows rap music because he's white and that's what they do. And Greg's car is bumping, I don't know, what is it, like some
some
partridge
folk
or
music or
something.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the contrast there, and then of course you get the the carjacking scene is one of the dumbest things in this movie because it's so unnecessary. Because it just
it
shows
was.
not only are they out of place, they're stupid. I'm 100% sure carjackings
Yeah,
existed in the 70s. People were getting their car jacked in the 70s. Like it may not have been called that, but you can't.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't. Uh, so I would say it wasn't as much of a thing as it became in that time. There was a huge thing during the late 80s and into the 90s. Huge. I mean, it was like big time. So that I could see them accentuating that.
I mean, sure, but action movies existed, and they're always taking cars. Like, just the idea that
Well, that's true.
he's just like, of course. He's like, no, of course it's a car, but my name's not Jack, it's Greg. And I'm like,
Yeah, that was.
I don't know. That's so dumb.
They
And
went,
then,
they went a little too obvious with it.
yeah, that was the problem with me. It's like, okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's one thing to be like, oh, we're stuck in the 70s. Another thing to just be dumb. You
Mhm.
can't be both.
They can't. Well, they can't put things together. And be like,
Because Mr. Brady is like, he's stuck in his ways, and he's too dumb to see that it's affecting his job.
I got a question. Like, he has this job, but how did he get hired?
He
Well,
must have got hired in the 70s.
yeah, and that's what. He's probably been as long as when he built his house.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It is kind of like confusing.
It's like it's like, did they like something happen to them where suddenly they were able to, like, who made a pact with something, or who decided, oh, let's try this experiment and see if this happens, and then they preserve them. I'm like, it's an unanswered question. It is kind of bugging me now too.
But also another thing, when like at his job, his boss was like trying to tell him like, hey, your designs, they're a little, and then he cuts him off and he's like, yeah, they're classic. So he knows it's not of the time.
And that's part of the problem with this movie, and why I think it doesn't work as well as like Addams Family or Flintstones, is because Flintstones is set in its time. The Addams Family are set in their time. Even though they're weird, they're still part of that time.
Yeah.
Right,
It's like,
right.
they're not oblivious to just
Or
like,
it's not even that they're part of their time, because they could have been part of any time, especially if you got witches and I don't know what Gomez was, but they could have been from any time and even carried through for hundreds of years.
There's always been Wiccans and things like that.
warlocks and who's and what's it, vampires and zombies.
Yeah.
And never learned shit.
So I guess that's a little different, but I think that's the whole thing. This is like, it's like, we're going to take this and set it, like literally lift it up out of the 70s and drop it in the 90s, just as it is. So it's like,
that's the thing. The Beverly Hillbillies movie does the exact same thing, where it's like they're stuck in a different time and they're just out of like it's a fish out of water movie. But at least with the Beverly Hillbillies, they're just now interacting with the rest of the world. So
right, that's what I was gonna say. Not just that, yeah, because they had nothing even in the time that it was from. They had nothing, so they went from nothing, backwater, blah blah, to you're rich, and so it's like the sensibilities they had with them, right there. So nothing changed, and so that's what it was. It's like their mindset or anything like that. They just had money, so they could just continue to do their crazy stuff. So I think I don't know, it's a little different.
No, that's what I'm saying. It is different. And that's why I think, like, even though I don't like the Beverly Hillbillies movie because I think it's stupid, the idea works better of them being like, okay, this is the first time they're moving from their product home to, Beverly Hills. So it's like, okay, this is more of a culture shock movie and all that stuff. While this is, like we said, they've been here. We don't know how long, but clearly long enough. Like, at the bare minimum, Greg and his brothers were born here in LA, in this town, and went to school here because he built that house, like he said.
Right.
Here, they're not new to the area. You know what I mean? Them still being under this weird psych, like
so was there, or how we have movies where there was a time jump, or just something, because this is like, I don't know, I'm trying not to get stuck on it, but I'm just saying it's like something happened here, because it doesn't now. I agree with you now. It doesn't make sense in the sense that we know that they existed in the 70s, obviously.
Yeah,
and now at those same age brackets, they're still existing in the 90s.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no. So
that's why
You just can't make
we're gonna,
sense. Don't.
we're gonna have to digress because we can't figure this out.
Yeah.
when we start meeting, so we get to the school. We're meeting some of these characters. We're meeting the big man on campus. I don't know what this dude's name. I never got it because I never paid attention to it.
Doug,
Doug?
Doug,
Yeah.
he deserved the name Doug.
Doug
Nah.
something.
But he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck Marsha. Like basically, he's that's gonna happen, and they're just like, okay, she's so weird. Oh my god, like she look at her. Oh my god, she's so weird. Why do they dress like that? Like all that's like half this whole part. Great.
Right.
Hey, you want to go to get a soda after school? And the girl's like, oh, no, hell no. She does. He's not having it, and then Marsha is. This is my favorite story here because Marsha has this friend Noreen. Noreen is clearly in love with Marsha.
Yeah.
And it is
Her
hilarious.
best friend.
It is super hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lot because it's like it's obvious for her and Marsha's like, oh my god, Noreen, you're such a good friend. And she's like, friend, right.
Noreen's like deeply in love. She's doing anything for her, holding her homework and stuff,
Yeah,
and
her books like that.
sitting around while she's talking about other boys and stuff, and she's just like, oh.
But
Yeah,
that's
that was.
that's that friend zone shit. Like she's friend zone and she'll never understand it. You'll never see it. Doesn't matter what she does.
Right. Because again, not that kind of thing didn't exist in the 70s, but it definitely wasn't like it is today in terms of that. So she could clearly be oblivious to that.
Yeah. Well, I think this was just for the comedy aspect of it. Like, oh, look how 70s she is. She doesn't even know what like an obvious lesbian looks like. You know what I mean?
She was obviously
like,
lesbian.
the 90s is like she was wearing like grunge jeans and stuff. Like, yeah, she was definitely.
But also because you can say back in the day, there were a lot of what we would have termed tomboys.
Well, yeah.
So,
but her mannerisms are what let you know that she's clearly into Marsha.
Yeah.
Like, she's trying to smell her hair. We also get a RuPaul cameo because it's the 90s and you are not going anywhere without RuPaul in some way.
Yeah.
And RuPaul is Jan's therapist.
Counselor.
She's a counselor at school.
Like, help you with unwanted pregnancies. Like she started doing like all that 90s stuff like that.
Hey, do you remember the name though of his character?
No. You gotta say her when it's RuPaul. Don't disrespect.
I mean, sorry, her. Mrs. Cummings.
I you know what? I remember that now, and I was like, was that supposed to be a joke?
I think so. I definitely think so.
I don't have no problem with being he, though.
You don't think? I
don't think he said anything about being she.
I don't know RuPaul like that.
I'm just saying. I mean, he's not. I mean, he like dresses like a man. In other times, he does.
But
both.
if he did wanted to be called she, I'm sure it would have been like big news when he said it because he's always been called he.
Man, dude is a legend. He doesn't have to do shit. If he wants whatever he wants to be called, you don't even have to know because it'll just be obvious.
I guess call him a
she. Just always say his name, RuPaul.
RuPaul.
That's RuPaul. RuPaul is a damn legend, and don't you forget it. Yeah, so we're getting this. She basically they're dealing with.
Was that RuPaul in Brooklyn?
Yes,
that was.
How did you not know that? I knew that, and that was come on.
He was a little bigger or something.
No, the dude was super short.
Well, maybe that made him look huge.
And the camera angle was from like bottom looking up, so it made
That's true.
Yeah. Yo, I was like,
I want to say the part.
No,
ain't no I
keep my panties clean.
I don't even know what's happening right now. Yeah.
Anyway,
somehow.
She said, "Oh, come back when you're pregnant."
Yeah, she does. That's weird. But also very 90s is because there was always like that. It's like the after school special thing. And, the 90s were harder on that because they had like different shows with teenagers like 90210 and weird. Like it was like it was no longer just school problem. Now we're talking about like lifer problem.
Life. Yeah.
That shit. Just give me the Wonder Years. I need the Wonder Years. The Wonder Years when your son becomes of age, Jonna.
Hey, I'm gonna be taking him to auditions.
You're gonna be on there, but like all I need you to do is say Winnie Cooper. That's it. To do your thing, buddy.
They already have a new Wonder Years.
Well, it's
black.
Yeah, it's the Black
Really?
Wonder Years.
Oh,
Black Wonder, I think it's called. No, it's not. It's called the Wonder Years.
No, it is called Wonder Years.
I know. I was like, but Black Wonder was a pretty cool name for a show.
interesting. I didn't know that.
He said Black Wonder. Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Good.
Well, right around here, we get back to Mr. Detmeyer getting electrocuted for no reason. Like, this scene is just to, like, have physical comedy in this movie.
Yeah.
It serves no purpose. It never comes back later, and it doesn't do anything. Cindy's just like, you're not supposed to touch the wire.
Well, the reason why it comes up is just to note the fact that it's another part of his instant karma. He was just like, I told you, get out of my yard. Go in your own stupid yard or whatever.
Yeah, he's doing all the stuff trying to get over, and he still ends up screwing himself most times.
It's just so it's this movie is like what an hour and 28 minutes.
It didn't need to be.
We could cut some time off of that because there's a lot of stuff I don't really need in this movie.
Yeah,
it's irritating. We like because the important stuff is very simple. We have the house to get, and Marsha's got to get Davy Jones to the dance, and Jan's got to do whatever the fuck Jan's doing. And
wait, but
freaking out.
you skipped a few parts here
because I didn't even write them in my notes because I didn't deem them important. Like that's how
everything kind of builds up. You missed the part where Cindy, little sister, she overhears mom and dad talking about that $20,000, and she goes tattles to her brother. She's trying to stop herself, but she's clearly a snitch and she can't help herself.
We haven't gotten there yet because that's later when they get after the school stuff.
Right.
What happens is I think it's like right around here. Like no kids, this is right after the electrocution part. Yeah. We start getting back to the kids and what they're doing at home and stuff like that. And that is when Cindy does overhear. And she says something. She's talking to Greg. She's like, what if you have to tell somebody something really important, but you don't want to be no snitch, but it's really important? And he was like, well, if it's important, then just say it. She was like, no, I'm not going to tell you that mom and dad owe $20,000. She's like, oops. I was like,
that's all kids acting like they don't want to snitch, but they do.
But that's how kids snitch. Like I would say this.
Dry snitch.
You and Malcolm snitch in the most irritating way because you wouldn't just outright say something, but like you would just be loud like mom and then look directly in the direction that mom was like, oh my god, what? I don't understand. I'd be like, oh my god, no,
stop being a jerk.
No, it's just such a dumb way to snitch.
It's to warn you, I'm gonna get mom.
What it is so you can say that I didn't tell. That's it.
Yeah, but I was this close. You pushed me to the limit.
What it would come down to is like you wouldn't even like snitch. You just be kind of like you would just be loud.
Trying to bring attention to it.
Yeah, like it just be like, oh, ow, like.
Well, you keep messing with me enough. I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to tell you. I'll do it though.
Yeah, you be saying, no, you be messing with me, but you used to be people into doing stuff. Tell me you did. Yes.
Doesn't sound like
you straight up be provoking people. You be pushing buttons, and then as soon as something happens, now all of a sudden you're a hurt baby. Like get out of here.
No, she was just talking about you. She was just talking about you. You know how you would somebody. She said you would be. She'd be like, "Hi, Tracy." She'd be like, "Shut up."
Yeah, well, I'm angry.
Jerk. So I'm like, all right.
Hey, get out of here.
I'm gonna slightly rip his Pokemon card and leave it back in the
package. See, I told you, and everybody thinks I'd be crazy. Now look at it; it's all coming out. Forget it. That's all good, Jonna, you evil sister.
Hey, don't mess with the youngest child, man.
Anyway, so yeah, now the kids have a weird meeting, and they're trying to figure out how to get this money, and all their plans are stupid as hell. They're just like, you get jobs, like not knowing that that's not how paychecks work. You can't just go get money like
In a week, you're gonna get $20,000.
yeah. And then Jan
You're
has
not gonna even get $1,000.
no, you're not getting nothing. It is dumb. It is. What's his name? This is where we get more of this stupid stuff. There's the Jan cuts Marsha's hair in the dream sequence, which I think is actually kind of funny. The way she's doing it, and she just like snapping, and their hair comes out perfect, and they're just like, I really love your hair. And she's just like, what the heck?
That's really messed up that she would have a dream like that. Like she's got issues.
And then wake up and look at her and see her there with her perfect hair still.
I feel like we've not been talking about it, probably because it's not memorable, but Alice has been in this movie dropping cheesy one-liners this whole time. And not a single one of them I can remember because they're just so, like, they're forgettable. They're just,
that's exactly how she was in the show. She was always there to say some,
Quirky.
just like, so that, yeah, that's what she did.
Yeah, because there was a scene, it was like when Marsha was talking about Davy Jones, she was like, I don't know if he'll ever respond to my mail. I'm like, first of all, ain't nobody responding to letters like that. Secondly, and then she goes, Alice is like, oh, you think you waited long? If you think you're waiting long for an answer, just think about how long I'm waiting for the question. I was like, this dude's not going to marry you. Like, no one cares that this dude doesn't want to marry you. No one, not a single person cares.
He never, and it never goes like, it goes back to it, but he never asked her to marry him.
No.
That's messed up.
I don't think he cares, especially not in this version of this character. He knows what he's got. Easy access. And that's what he's here for. They're all doing stuff to try to like earn little odd money, and none of it is really working. Bobby frisked a teacher though, and that got my attention. He was like, spread them. And I was like, first off, I don't care if you are a safety monitor. That's not within your job. Like,
she was like a bus driver.
You can do better than that.
Well, yeah. Well, no, I think John. I don't think she was the bus. I think he just had her hemmed up against the bus like that.
Oh,
like yeah, because he was just like, yeah, spread them. And then she was like, you can't do this. I'm a teacher, which is like, yeah, 100% accurate. And this dude's like, nope. Spread him, and she does it, and he's like, nah, you could do better than that. Hitler or some other stuff falls out. And he was like, man, you must have some strong thigh muscles. I was like, that's a vagina joke. We just got a strong vag joke, and we're just it's so weird.
Honestly, that part was funny. I thought that part was super funny.
But it's also like
a little disturbing.
I don't know what we're doing here, because I feel like if you were gonna do that, go give me the R rating, make it a hard R comedy.
This movie had a lot of
very
inappropriate innuendos.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just give me the hard R and make it a dirty comedy, and they're just oblivious. Like, you know what I mean? Make that happen. I would rather see that than them kind of giving me the subtlety of it. I want to see, like, just do it, then go for it. And I think, like we talked about with like Addams Family and Flintstones, they went for it. They went for what the silliness of that stuff.
Right.
And while they tried to do it here, the setting makes it fall flat. It just makes it fall flat everywhere it goes. It's just like, okay. Like Peter is the only one who feels like while he's dressed like that, he's not like that, because he's still like chatting up old girl. He has friends that aren't like goof troop. You know what I mean? Like, because even the other dude that Marsha is dating or whatever they are, he's like, oh, gee golly whiz. Like, you know what I mean? Did he come with you from the camp? Like, what happened?
I'm trying to see what what is it? The rating.
I think it's PG or PG-13.
Let me see.
Because
I'm like, definitely PG-13.
Oh.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I think it's PG-13.
Okay.
Give me the R. Just give me the R. Make it a dirty comedy.
They could have done that.
Yeah, they hovered
at the end of the
right
day.
Over it.
It was not for children.
No, I mean, no, it definitely wasn't. And we saw it as children, so that's the craziest part about it. You know what I mean? I saw it. I don't know if I saw this. No, I didn't see it.
No, I didn't see it in theaters. We didn't.
Like, it's definitely like an HBO joint like that. We watched, and I was just like, oh, well, that was stupid. Because
I must admit,
I watched
was-
the Brady Bunch. We used to watch those reruns all the time. To come on, like on regular TV before you had to get like TV Land to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I actually, it went over my head when I was a kid. I remember seeing this, and honestly, I thought it was the same characters. I thought it was them.
I did too. I'm 100% with you. I 100% thought it
They
was.
look pretty good. The characters, like they look.
She said that today. She was like,
I did. I 100% did. But that was like 96 when I saw this movie. I didn't know actors and stuff like that. Like only the big ones. Like we all knew who Will Smith was and
right.
ones that we were supposed to know. Like if you were like, oh, Bruce Willis, I was like, oh yeah, I know Bruce Willis. You know what I mean?
Right.
But none of these actors stuck out to me then. So it wasn't like I
Right.
could recognize them in any way. Like now I know like the dad is what's his name.
Dad, oh gosh, he's in everything.
If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff. So it's like, okay, nice. Yeah. And Marsha is what's her face?
What's her name? Well, the ex-wife anyway. They're not married anymore.
Ben Stiller. What's her? I don't remember.
What the hell is her name?
I don't know. Important.
Shut up. And she was in what is it? The Wedding Singer. Well, that was. Oh, Christine Taylor is her name.
Yeah. So we get that the frisking is happening. We get Greg as Johnny Bravo just walking down to a record studio and be like, "Hey, sign me. Like I'm gonna be a rock."
And then that was the original Greg Brady.
The dude,
you know that?
No, I don't, because I don't know what these dudes look like outside of what.
And then, and Peter Brady, the original Peter Brady, was in the school scene when that guy was about to jump on Peter, and he blew his whistle. He was like the monitor at lunchtime. Okay. That's the real Peter Brady.
That's interesting. I mean, I assume there would be cameos in here, and I wouldn't be able to spot them because I don't know what these niggas look like.
And then Alan, one though, at the closer to the end.
Well, no,
Alan was the truck driver.
Yeah, I got that. It was kind of obvious.
She did.
But Marsha, and Jan, they both had some serious issues during that time. Like Marsha, I had some serious, like some drugs, serious kind of stuff.
When you're trapped in a cult, do what you got to do, man. I'm just saying, like when you're trapped in a cult, you got to do what you got to do.
Maureen McCormick and Eve Plum. That's their real names. Yeah, they were notable in the 90s for all the wrong reasons. Those Where Are They Now, and they showed up on some shows. You know what I mean? And did some Oprahs and some. Yeah.
So we get back to this. Greg is doing the Johnny Bravo thing. That's where we get the Seattle and grunge reference or whatever. And he was like, they don't have clowns in Seattle and all that shit.
Yeah.
And then what else? Mr.
Jan and Marsha modeling.
Yeah, they go to the modeling agency, and obviously Marsha gets it and Jan doesn't. That's the joke. But then we get to more of this pedo swinger joint stuff going around here because Greg and Peter go to I don't know
Meyer's wife.
I don't know what Greg went over there for, but Peter went to mow the lawn, and she's like, he
asked if he could mow the. Yeah, he went after if he could mow the lawn.
Greg went to get the mail. And
that's right.
In the front of his pants, and she was like, "Oh, you're so big now." I was like, "Oh my god, you have to make this a hard R. Like it's already there."
Yeah.
Messing with him, and she's just like, "Yeah."
Because these are supposed to be minors in this movie.
They are. And then Peter comes and is like, "Hey, look, can I mow your lawn?" She was like, "Ooh, 2 Brady's." Like, and I was like,
she said, and after that, I can let you help me make a sandwich.
I had to write that one in my notes. He offered to help for them to make her a sandwich.
Help.
And I realized she was being very little about making her the sandwich. And I was like, oh my God.
I didn't even realize that.
It's just
okay.
But you got to think about like that joke can only work with the woman in that
role. Didn't even.
I'm sorry, Mom, that you had to find out how that sandwich is happening.
Great.
It is what it is. You had to.
Wow. Yeah, great. Totally.
Yeah, they were gonna make her a sandwich.
Woo.
Like, I don't know, peanut butter and jelly. I guess. I don't know.
Wow.
That's what I was like.
That went there.
Yeah.
And then we We get Marsha's nose, which is kind of like one of the most memorable things from the Brady Bunch role, like her breaking her nose and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny for a little while, and then it's not anymore. We get a James Avery appearance, and I'm rest in peace to James Avery. It was really good to see him. He's always man. He's just like he has a natural like big guy ass to him that's like talking to.
He does.
They're finding out like the Bradys aren't selling and it's gonna ruin everything, I guess. Unless everybody sells, they don't get money or something. I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Or well, if everybody doesn't go, then they don't get to sell, I don't think.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Yeah.
Like at the end of the movie, they were like, "You ruined us." I was like, "What ruined? What?" I mean, worst case scenario, you still have your house. Like, I don't understand.
Right? They're trying to get this money and do what?
So they thinking they're gonna get a whole bunch of money. Then they go find out
invested in something, like then I can see that. But none of that is ever made clear. All we know is that he needs to sell the house. They never say why. They never say we're gonna build a shopping mall. Like it's never really anything because
because the person he's working for is the one that's trying to buy up all that, and obviously he's gonna build something. So it's a developer or something. That's who he was talking to in the beginning.
No, that's what I'm saying. But give me that. Like, make me feel like we're fighting for something. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
Like every good movie, like remember, like in Breaking, when they have to save the rec center and stuff like that. Like those moments make that better because otherwise you're just like, oh, we're just raising money for the sake of raising money.
Right.
They have to pay the taxes so they don't get evicted. That's part of that. But then it's like, why do you need them to sell this house so bad? You know what I mean? Give me
for him, for Detmeyer.
It's an all or nothing.
His job is on the line, I guess. Well, he's a real estate agent, no?
He's a real estate agent. That's what I'm saying. Like we need to hear him because we kind of get the Charlie Brown bullshit with the phone where he's just like, yeah, okay, well, what do you mean? Like, you know, he's just like repeating, like trying to give position or whatever. But give me something where he's just like, look, we're gonna get you that mall no matter what. Just give me such and such amount of time. That way it's like, okay, we know that they're trying to build a shop mall. That's why we could be like, see, gentrification is bad and all that other shit. You know what I mean? Like development plan.
That would have been way too heavy for this movie.
Well, it would have gained some weight, which it needs, man, inside of all this dumb. Because it's just like, it is super corny, and I get that that's the point, but it's not. Yeah. You made a movie about an episode. It's not how you do that. The stakes have to be a little higher.
Well, I think what they were seriously trying to do, I think almost in a way, they weren't trying to do any of that, but it just almost couldn't because they had to have one line, one story, but they wanted to throw so many of those other things in there.
Every dart at the wall with them because they were just
they're trying to be really.
Marsha's this, Jan psychosis, Peter's going through puberty, Bobby is apparently frisking people. Cindy Greg's trying to be a movie star and woo some girl at the same time. Whoa, there's also a love triangle over here somewhere. Like they were throwing every single dart they could.
They're trying to be as nostalgic as they could with who the characters are and things they've gone through, and so I'm not really mad at that.
But see that's what I'm saying. Think about the Flintstones, right? They found the story and they wrote that, right? And then they put a lot of the nostalgia parts in it. But when it comes to this, you're basically saying you don't trust your audience to understand that this is a Brady Bunch movie unless we put every memorable thing.
No, I think they just wanted to do it. They wanted to put those memories there because they know that that's what people are coming for.
Well, no, I get that. But you don't have to put everything. You don't have to put all of your eggs in that basket. That's too much to me. It's like, because then it just feels like the movie's all over the place. Because right here we get to like the dance night, and the dude comes and picks up Marsha, and he basically tells them like, "Hey, I'm gonna fuck your daughter," and he's like, "Hey, I hope you brought." She was like, "Oh, it's gonna rain. Here's your shawl," and she was like, "Well, I hope you have protection." He was like, "Yeah, all assortments of colors and flavors or some shit like
textures."
That. I was like, this dude.
Was like, good. And then he also said, because he said, "Oh, I hope you don't mind you probably don't want to go with me because my nose is all messed up or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, I'm not going with you because of your nose."
Yeah, and I was like,
wow.
He can only say that to these parents because they're oblivious as hell.
I know they're just like, that's the right one. That's a
Yeah,
fine
it
young
is
man.
funny, but yeah,
The big man on campus.
big man. They both say it. The
Yeah, they
dad,
did.
and the mom. What the? I'm sorry. I'm not referring to a child as big man on campus. God,
Well,
you know
you
we
could be clowning. That see, really and truly, if that had been like, oh, it'd be a clown, yeah, oh, big man on campus,
look at this guy, big man on
Yeah,
campus. Yeah, yeah, like, but if
Mhm.
it was a better movie, that would have been. But
yeah,
it's not. It's this
yeah.
movie, unfortunately. And then we get to the school. Well, he tries to basically get her to have sex with him on some makeout point or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And then she's like, "I'm not that kind of girl," and he leaves
And
her.
she's like, you got me your hand on my shoulder.
That's
That's
third
third
base.
base, and I'm not that good.
I was like, "Okay, hand on
That's
the shoulder, third base,
that's
got it."
not even
Remember
first base these days.
that? I don't know. I don't think it ever was
I don't even
anyway.
think you took a swing at it.
But yeah, because he leaves her, which is well within his right to do so. And what? I think so. I think so. I think
No, because he should have been into her and who she is on the
And
inside,
no, that's
and
me.
not
That
her
it ain't
no,
that
dude.
he don't know her.
no, that's what I'm saying. It's very clear that he wasn't into her. It was very clear that he only asked her to the dance for one reason.
Yeah,
Very,
he
very,
was gonna
very.
prove that he could get it.
At this point, this is her fault, not his, because she's dumb and oblivious. And
How can
her
you blame somebody for being dumb?
because her friend was even like, "Nah, he's a scumbag," and it never amounted to anything because he was just like,
Right.
"No, he's so sweet and oh my god, ooh, he's so cute."
No, she
And
was saying because she was saying that the Charlie guy asked her first. She's like,
Right.
I like Charlie, but Doug's really cute.
yeah, and
Mhm.
that was her old reasoning. So she deserved what she got. I'm sorry. You
That's
got
all
it.
Doug is.
You were just talking about he's got to date her for who she is. That's not why he went out. That's not why she chose him.
Right.
True.
So,
Okay.
hey, look,
Well, okay, but I will say that again, in the whole theme of the boy crazy thing and all that stuff, that was pretty much it. Is just what you looked at. It's like, oh, so cute. Oh my God, she's so cute. And then, and I can just speak for this, and you get into a situation where this person might be talking to you, and then they start talking a certain way, and it's like, whoa, okay, I wasn't trying to be.
You're not
That's
as
not
cute
what
as
I
I
was.
thought you was.
You don't know what comes after he's so cute at a certain point. You're just like, oh, I was like, oh, I hope he likes me, and then it's like, okay, what does it mean when he likes me? Because then they start talking crazy, and it's like, oh, no, we ain't doing all that. So
but that's what I'm talking
True.
about. She didn't take those steps. So that's on. Hey, look, it is what it is.
She really thought he'd be like,
But
oh no, that's fine.
apparently, she gets picked up by a limo. We don't know who's in it, but it's very obvious who's in it. It's not even like subtle. He was like, "Hey, I'm just trying to get to this high school dance," and it's like, that's Davy Jones.
I just
Davy
connected
Jones
that.
soccer mate.
yeah,
I
well,
just
yeah, no,
connected
you
that.
definitely wouldn't have connected that.
I'm oblivious. Is Davy Jones a real person?
Yes,
Okay, I just want to make sure. I've never heard a nigga
yes.
this nigga
And
in
did
my
you
life.
see how at the end when they did the thing and they won the contest?
Yeah, wasn't he?
That was the monkeys, and that's what he came from. The
Oh, Davy
monkey.
Jones was in the Monkeys.
Yes. But he
Oh,
was the lead singer, so everybody was in love with him. He was the heartthrob back
yeah,
then.
that makes sense. Nobody cared
Yeah.
about the Jodeci.
Right.
Casey and
Yeah.
Joe, like, the niggas was the only ones dropping songs. The rest of the niggas was like
Yeah.
in the background. Yeah.
You knew them, and there was one of them that was there, because it was four of them, but it was only three of them right there. But one of them, the other one was Mickey Dolenz, but he was always the silly one, so he stood out too. But Davy Jones he was the one. Everybody loved him.
So we get back to this dance. Jan's new look, which is an afro and platform shoes.
Oh my gosh, that horrible afro.
I am
And
so
she had
glad.
gotten attention and she liked it. But she thought it was
She was
good attention. But everybody was just laughing at her. Like,
Well, the
but it's
attention
like,
only
what's up with
lasts.
the fro? Like, she really thought I was gonna do her some favors? Like,
Yeah, yeah, and that was the thing. I was like, you got the fro, but your hair's hanging out the front still. You didn't even tuck it into the wig
It's not
properly.
even all right. Yeah, you did.
But then this is like because I think Greg goes up there, tries to do his song. They kick this nigga off.
Oh my god, that was the worst.
Then Peter, throughout this movie, he keeps running into this teacher, and I don't know what her deal is because she's not even like the hot teacher. She's just, you know,
because
what I mean?
she's teaching all that sex ed stuff.
He keeps running
and it's embarrassing.
No, he keeps running into her,
Oh,
like
literally,
Yeah.
into her, and he's just like, "Oh, titties," and then
It's
just
like what they do in animes when their nose starts bleeding.
yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
what this one reminds me of, like anime nosebleeds and stuff. Like that's all he keeps painting, and it happens here, and he's not even in the rest of this scene. Like that's it. He's like in a few scenes. We know that he kind of likes this other girl, and she's apparently with this dude or not. Like there's never clear either because their relationship is like he's like, "Oh, I hate you, you dumb broad, but you're still my dumb broad." Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
because he's a douche.
He's
Yeah,
also Detmeyer's son, as we find out.
Right.
Stupid. And it's yeah. So we get more of this. Marcia introduced Davy Jones, and I actually like this part because Davy Jones
the teachers.
and all the teachers move to the front. They're just like, yo. But what makes this scene so dope is that the band gets into it. They're like,
You're right.
we can work with this, and and the song. If I can find that version of that song,
It's pretty dope. That solo and everything.
sounded really good. I'm not gonna front.
I would have started dancing.
I feel like you can take no. And then speaking of dancing, oh my god, let's talk a lot. Let me just say this: Marsha's dance moves were the worst. But the one thing I noticed in this scene is there are two black kids, the only black people in this movie apparently. Two black kids who are behind her the whole time, and they're like, "Yo, we can freak this out." And then once they start doing it, then everybody's like, "Well, the black kids are doing it, so I guess it's cool."
I mean, that's how it works, right?
That's what's so funny. I had to put that in my notes just like that. I was like, Marsha starts dancing, black kids in the back, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Because they were watching her. They were like,
Hey, they
You're
put,
like,
those black kids
okay,
there. They put those black kids there for that reason.
then when they started doing it, that shit actually looked smooth and cool. And then all of a sudden, you see the rest, everyone's doing it. And then Jan's like, "Oh my God, Marsha, I'm going to murder you in your sleep."
She was. She was like, Marsha.
Oh my God. It is just so dumb, man.
Oh my gosh! And then afterwards, right when he took her home in his little weird looking truck.
The Charlie guy, right?
Yeah, the Charlie guy. And then he was like, can I have, a good night kiss? And she's like, sure. And then she gives him the tongue kiss. Oh my gosh. And here we go again. He was like, did you put your tongue in my mouth or something? She's like, yes, silly. It's a French kiss.
Like
And he's
she
like,
knew that the whole time.
huh?
I said, like she knew that the whole time. She found that out because she was
Right.
basically molested by old dude.
She's this girl trying to make it
Like,
seem
I
like
have
she's
to go.
experienced.
Something came up.
Oh my God, that joke. Come on, bro. Like we're doing this is what I'm talking about. Make it
Oh my God.
go for it. We're already we're there. Just
They were
go
literally just right along the line.
All right.
go for it, man. Then we get this scene. I guess the dad sells one of his designs finally because they all just look like houses in front of whatever. It's like house, gas station, house, gym.
Yes.
It's the same fucking thing. And the dude's just like, he was like, look, I'll make that deal with you. Yeah, if you can sell one of your houses, I'll give you the 20 G's, but don't buy your stupid houses. Like, because we don't do houses here. We do other things. And then I guess the Asian dudes buy it because they like the traditional look or whatever.
Right.
They have the gym. I think it's the gym is the one that they have.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we like it and stuff like that or whatever. So he's like, don't worry, kids. I know no one knows about this because we've been trying to keep it under wraps. And kids are like, what? They do. It's so stupid. But then they're like, all right, so let's go spend a bunch of money, I guess. They go to the mall. And then
Let's go to Sears. Because, okay, but I can tell you that kind of thing. Well, so you got to understand this was pre-mall.
Well, no, I'm not tripping about the Sears part. I'm talking about what they were doing, all the dancing and the choreography.
Because that was in an episode.
We know. And
Yes.
it is like, that's what I'm saying though. We're almost done with this movie. It's too late. Like we should have gotten all the silly, campy stuff so we could get to the problem of trying to save the house. Like instead,
They
we're
just
doing
had to add
No, they
that. They
still
knew they
gotta
were
put
going
it
to
in.
add that.
it's like somebody was just like, let me mix 3 cereals and just see what happens. Hopefully we get to the cinnamon toast crunch. Nope, Cheerio. Nope, more Cheerios. Like it's still getting the same stuff. Give me more.
Oh man.
So we get another one-liner from Alice when she's just like, "Oh, and I thought Mr. Face had magic fingers." I don't know what his name is.
Oh,
Sam.
she's talking about that
Sam.
chair.
Yeah, she's like, and then they all get on the screens, and it looks like the opening screen.
Yeah.
Because he's like, "Oh no, they're everywhere," and that's the scene.
And he dropped
is-
that toilet on his foot because he was holding the
Oh
whole
yeah,
toilet.
there's that.
And then we find out also too. This is like he finds out
Oh,
how.
Let me say, do you know who that is?
No,
Ditmeyer?
no,
So he was part of, but I don't know if you really saw episodes of Laverne and Shirley.
I did not.
Oh,
Oh,
see,
he
they
was
had
in
these, they had these neighbors upstairs, Lenny and Squiggy. They were these two little goofy dudes who thought they were cool. You know, they had the slick back look and the leather jackets, but he was Lenny. That's where he came from. So total, and I noticed after that, he would always play roles where he got to play hardcore or douchebag roles. And I think because he had such a, a clean image for so long, he wanted to, put himself out there and be bad guys and stuff like that. So I'm like,
when you see like child actors and like once they get of age, they're like, I'm gonna play the most sexified role I can, and it's like, okay, but did you have to though? Because it's only
like, you have to go that fast?
right there, like
There needs to be a little bit of time because I feel so
We're gonna
awkward
just
seeing
hear
just some of these Disney
Oh,
kids.
I mean, you ever see that video I posted of that little girl at the asking Zendaya about going from Disney to Euphoria?
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, Zendaya was like, "Oh no, tell me you're not here for that." What? Zendaya, sorry, I apologize.
It isn't there. Yeah, you messed up.
Well, neither one of you corrected me. Come on, get this shit
Oh,
together.
because I knew what you meant, so I was just like,
Yeah.
keep going.
But I also feel like she was set up. Like I feel like the parents put the child up to that. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because how old of a child was this?
Yeah,
A
why does she
small one,
go to
obviously.
Euphoria? Oh yeah, she
That's
couldn't have-
what I was going to say. Why is she even watching this?
A, she couldn't have been old enough to even remember the shows that
Zendaya
was even on, even because they've been off for quite some time.
Right.
Yeah.
Not like they were
I don't
just
even know what she was on Disney.
But she
But,
was
but
on,
it still
the
plays
Thing
though.
and the show with Kadeem Harrison or whatever, where she was like a spy or something like that. Like, yeah, they play, but they don't play like that. You gotta go. You can find them, especially on streaming, but they're not
Yeah.
going like those reruns
Yeah.
aren't like that.
Either
like
way, hey, that
They don't
kid
have
should
to
not
watch
be watching
anymore.
Euphoria. I'm in the
Hey,
middle.
I shouldn't watch Euphoria, okay?
No, I
will
feel
watch
assaulted.
Euphoria.
I feel assaulted knowing.
I've been seeing a couple of episodes with Kiana, but I have not like that.
Let me tell you, I feel assaulted because they're supposed to be kids and got them doing all this.
I've always felt like that. I don't like watching.
So
stuff
they're trying to bring up to this. What was that show that I hated?
New Age Degrassi.
New Age Degrassi.
It is worse than the graphic because
Ew, that's terrible. And
but it is, it just ultimately it is because kind of just like shock, and that's really what it is. Like, because outside of that, because I watched one, it was like a special episode I think that they made for like Christmas or something like that, and she was talking to like her sponsor or whatever, and that was like it was a really good episode. Their conversation and stuff like that, was kind of a cool episode. And it was really good. And I was like, okay, if this is the thing. And Kiana was telling me like overall, like that's kind of it's about their struggles with addiction and family.
Right. But they just throw all that extra.
Well, they have to for the people who like that kind of drama.
Well, yeah. That's what and it also brings the notoriety. Because everybody's gonna talk about it.
And HBO got
and it worked
stuff in all of their movies and shows.
Yeah,
I did one episode this season with Kiana. I thought it was hilarious where this girl does a play about all her friends. That one was pretty funny.
I watched about literally probably 10 minutes of the first episode, and it was just something that was, and I was just like, oh
Oh
no,
yeah, I
I can,
started watching it with you. I turned it on,
yeah, and
and
I was just
I
like,
was like, "This is not the show you watch with your mama."
no, this is not the show I watch. Yeah.
Where were we? Okay, Detmeyer finds out who bought the plans, who bought the house or whatever, who bought the
Oh
plans.
my God, that part, that bothered me.
I didn't
It's
like that.
like when he said, and who did you sell the plans to? And I'm like, they didn't even show it because he's gonna tell them. And it's like, that stupidity. It's like none of your business.
And that's what I'm saying. It's one thing like your whole deal is supposed to be like you're a 70s clean cut family. You are not
Right.
that dumb. You can't be that dumb. Nobody can be that dumb because
Yeah,
even
that's over the top, dumb.
just like he's like, this guy's trying to get you to sell your house and all that other stuff, and you're gonna tell him who you sold it to and where the firm is. And
You already know what he's trying to do.
he went over there and was just like, oh hey, yeah, it's gonna be crazy because this guy's got like allegations. One of his houses
Yeah,
and it broke, and they were
he
puppies.
goes over the top, of
They didn't
course.
even ask for proof.
No,
Yeah, and then there's that. What's his name? I love him though, Mike Lookinland, the dad, because he knows how to play those crazy, like non-existent in real life kind of characters, but make you like believe it.
everything I see him in, I think he's hilarious because I love Office
Office Space. Oh my gosh!
Oh yeah,
Look at that coffee cup.
Yeah, obviously Talladega Nights, and he's in a
The
lot of
Anchorman.
stuff too, where he's just like he's one of those guys who's like you'll never be like, oh man, he's gonna lead a movie one day, but he's always good at everything he
He
does.
is. He is. Oh my gosh!
He was an Anchorman, right?
I think he was at some point.
I think he was.
I gotta
It's hard
watch
to
it,
tell. Now,
I but there was a lot because there was a lot of people in Anchorman. Like,
oh my gosh, a lot. I mean,
He was in an Anchorman.
Yeah,
they damn near pulled everybody from everywhere.
yeah, it was like Vince Vaughn, Luke Wilson. I'm pretty sure Owen Wilson had a cameo somewhere. Like Ben Stiller.
Yeah. Oh
Will
yeah.
Smith was in there.
Yeah,
Kanye West.
no, that was the sequels.
Oh,
Yeah, it was the sequels, but it's the same thing. It's a lot.
yeah,
Of
this is crazy. They just got so many people. That was awesome.
Yeah, so we go. They come back. Basically, they find out. We do the phone thing where you can't hear the other end of the conversation, but you pretty much figure out that Mr. Brady, they took away his commission or whatever it was. He's not getting the money. He was like, sorry, family. We got fucked. I don't know how it happened. I couldn't have been because I ran my big mouth. That's no way that happened. And then basically now it's like, all right, so I guess we have to move tomorrow. Like
just like that.
They move, man. They move quick.
Yeah.
And they're sleeping on the floor, and then they're like,
no, they packed up.
Well, they had the idea, and basically they were like, Marsha was like, hey, what if we do the Star Search thingamajigget? And they were like, Jan was like, the fuck? Like, that's when she says it too. She was like, am I invisible? Like that was my idea. And they're like, oh, Jan, just stop. You're so jealous, Jan. And I was like, yo, you know what?
That was too blatant.
Yeah, like I don't condone certain things, but at a certain point, Jan, if you want to, I don't know, man. If you want to hurt some of your family members, I have. Just take care of Cindy. She's not in this movie.
Hey.
Like no one's gonna miss her.
Jan had the right to go off.
Yo, she 100% did, and and if that happened in this movie, I would be like, good for you, Jan.
Good for you, Jan.
Instead, she's just like, I'm leaving. With that stupid wig.
Wait, why did she put that wig on?
What is it?
Was she trying to disguise herself?
I don't know. I think she just wanted to be a different Jan. She's like the new Jan, and then now new Jan is a psychosis.
Well, and that's exactly what happened. Again, that was an episode, but she didn't put an afro on, obviously. But when she was yeah, that's what they do.
You got little Cindy. She was there to see it, and
Yeah,
she does her little snitch thing.
Oh,
tells
she was like, "Hey, if you're gonna snitch on me, at least give me a head start."
She did.
Like
I know she gonna snitch.
no, Cindy goes, I ain't no snitch. She basically doesn't say
There
that.
she goes snitching.
She went in there. She went to their mom and
Oh
dad.
yeah, when the parents were supposed to be having their last night in the house.
Like, y'all gotta start locking some doors. Like, what the fuck, bro?
You see how they had the books? They're like flipping them to
They flip it. I know you. Yeah, switch. She was like, I'm not trying to tattle, but she was like, well, what is it? She was like, can it wait till morning? She was like, no, Jan could be dead by then. And then
She had to yell too. She was
no
like,
extra.
it was over. It was too much.
that was pretty funny. Actually, like she played a pretty good classic snitch. Classic little snitch sister.
That's what we in the business call dry snitching. Like, she didn't technically snitch, but it was just enough to get it done. But yeah,
All right, my job here is done.
yeah, pretty much. They go looking for Jan. She gets picked up by Alice, the real Alice.
Yeah.
The one who's playing Alice, and they're related to her because they look alike. And
Honestly, that's why I thought it was her. I was like,
I did too. When I first saw it, I was like, they put that age makeup on her. But then I was like, I looked closer. I was like, oh, that's old. That's not age. That's not makeup. They look alike. Like that's her daughter or something.
they did their job.
No, they the casting people did amazing.
Job.
Honestly, that little girl looked
good.
like the other little girl in the original.
I was looking at the pictures. I was like, they did a decent job. But I mean
Cindy wasn't this is Alice. That's the one that played Alice.
The original?
No, right now in that one.
Oh, yeah. She still kind of looks like her.
She did
something about her face.
Well, because she played her, so
okay, well, maybe I cannot see it now.
It makes sense that she would look like the person she, Jenna.
So, so there's not roles for people who don't look like anyone else.
No, what I'm saying is, if you're saying she still looks like her, it's like, well, because that was who she was. Her. That's why.
Right. Yeah. No, because you've got that. That's your experience with seeing her. So now you're looking at her, even though she's not dressed up like that. That face is still there.
True.
She still looks like her.
She's Alice.
So Jan talks to Alice, and Alice is like, I don't know. I don't even remember what she said because I kind of zoned out.
Well, it's so weird because the mom and dad in their car, because they're searching, they got the
CB radio.
Yeah. And then she's like, breaker 90. What is this? 199?
Breaker 19.
That's a backstory there that we just don't have. Why does she have?
Well, you don't need no. You just see this is one of those. You don't need a backstory. You got to know that there were people. You know how people have certain things because they're cool to have. So truck drivers had CB radios. That's how they communicate.
You know that.
However, people when they were cool, it's like people who get police scanners. You know what I mean? So they had CB. I knew people who had CB radios just because. It was cool. And they would just jump in there and start talking to people. And so that was a thing. And you heard him, Mike, he said, nobody said anything on that thing in years. They're probably not. She's like, well, I have to try, and then boom, here we go.
It was still pretty trash.
It was
pretty whack. It was just pretty whack. I get it. I get what you're saying because it's in sitcoms. It's in all kinds of stuff where somebody will have a CB radio or something like that. I get that. But
somebody will be like, you have a CB? Because it's like
it just came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, and not even just that, but the lingo that she had. I was like, it would be real cool if before she met Mike, she was a truck driver. Like, that would be really cool.
No, because everybody knew that language. I mean, just lay people knew that it was a thing. That's the thing to say, because if you pretended even as a kid back then, that's the first thing you would say. Breaker 19. This is what's your 20? That's how we knew that as kids. That was like
it in movies, and I thought it was like they're just making up crap.
No, that was real.
I think Breaker 19 took off because of like movies and TV, but I don't think truckers actually said that. I think
they did.
I think they say other things. I think their code.
Oh, they do. They said lots of other things, but they did say that. And they said, that's how I knew before I went to when I was working at Time Warner, you know how we dispatched the technicians and stuff. I knew the 20, like I knew what that meant. Because of that, I knew what it meant when somebody says, what's your 20? I knew, not because they told me, because that's not a thing you would just know, but I knew because of that stuff. And plus I knew people who were truck drivers from back in the day.
I
So
figured
it was
it out
just,
because of
yeah,
context clues.
yeah.
None of it makes sense to me. Just
See,
none of
it's
it.
like
Numbers and letters.
And it doesn't matter here because
if
we
somebody
knew.
says, "What's your 20?" That means where you at.
Yeah, we know.
I
No,
get
she
that.
don't
I got
know
that part. I knew that
how
part
we get.
actually.
No,
Yeah,
but
I've
all
heard
I'm
that.
saying is, okay, so we get it. Real Alice says something. I don't know. I tuned
Oh,
out.
she just starts talking about family and
And
you
that
know.
she's loved or something
Jan,
like that.
and that's the thing. Jan tunes out because her voices start going in overdrive. Like 6 of them show up all of a sudden, and they're arguing it
The
out.
word comes and they're all the rest
Hey,
of them get scared.
I broke out laughing.
I'm the new Jan, and they're like, I don't like new Jan. She's scary.
Broke out laughing. I'm like,
And then it was like,
am I crazy? I'm like, I do stuff like that all the time.
but see, my voices are just my voices. It's my voice. It's not like I don't have a demon in my head going, hey, let's go knock over. I was like, why was like new Janet's first thing to be like, hey, let's go bust open. She was like, let's go knock over.
7-Eleven, right?
I was like, what? Why is that your thing? Like, why would new Janet go like, let's go to a club or something like that? Why does it have to be like something you could get arrested for? It's so dumb.
Because she was miserable and depressed.
Well, she goes home and all of a sudden everyone loves her and they're like, oh, Jen, we always like you. Wink.
And dad makes this big old speech about
he drops like several gems right here.
family being home.
And Carol's just
like
waiting to get in there so she can say, you know, Dad's right. But she's like,
and he keeps saying something else. He was like, he just comes in like hot. He was like, hey, family, you know, a penny saved is a penny earned. A bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Home is where the heart is. No play makes Jack a dull boy.
Because it's funny.
Right.
It's funny because the way he says stuff, he'd be like, if you don't have a home, you have family. But if you have family, you have a home. And without that home, you wouldn't have any family.
he's like, he is greeting cards all over the place, bro.
oh my God. And then, of course, when they go over to Grandma's house, which is the original mother from the Brady Bunch, that was Florence Henderson.
That's too far ahead.
Huh?
Yeah, wait, where are you?
Yeah, we didn't even get to the contest yet.
Oh, we didn't know. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, because I was like, damn, what happened? Anyway, yeah, so they basically, Marsha's like, oh, it was Jan's idea, and they're all like,
yeah.
what? Oh my God. And it was
But they only were like cool about it because Marsha said it.
Because she mentioned it earlier, she was like, hey, we could do the star search. And they were like, shut up, Jan. Nobody has any talent.
She's definitely the Meg of her family.
She is Meg so much. They were just like, shut up, Jan. Get the fuck out of here. Don't ask you for your input. And then she was just like, fuck you guys. And then Marsha was like, hey, I've got a good idea. And she was like, yo, I swear to God, I'm going to murder this. When it happens and I murder this family, I don't want anyone to say shit. Because that's exactly what happened, bro. And then so they go. Did you notice? But right before they go in, they show the talent show that the Partridge Family bus goes by.
Oh, no, I didn't notice that. Oh my gosh.
I was like a little on the nose there, buddy. Okay. The Partridge Family. That's why I was like, what fucking movie am I watching? And then right there, it just goes by and it says Partridge Family on it. And then we get into the gym and they're doing
get out of here.
Other band is performing their song, which isn't very good because they're phlegm.
Yeah,
really, because they're phlegm.
That's what they kept saying. We are phlegm.
Oh, shit.
They were legitimately phlegm. I'm not just making that. And then that's when the dude tries to attack Peter and he gets his nut smashed.
Peter didn't even do nothing. Like he stepped on like a stand. It looks like some kind of stand, and it hit him in his gonads, and that knocked him out. That had him winded.
Well, I mean, it would. You know that kickstand thing? That's like a thick little thing.
It looks like it went.
It's like it looks like a marshmallow, but it's thick as hell, and it has some. We used to like hit it against my hand back in the day when I used to play the drums. But you got to think about it too. When you step on it, it moves like quick. That could have knocked him out for a cool minute. He's on the floor trying to catch his breath or waiting for his ball to come back.
But that's crazy. He didn't even know what was going to happen. He was just like, "Hey, don't talk to her like that or else. And then he was
Yeah,
like, he was just gonna stand there and get his
And you
ass
see
beat
how
for her.
scared he looked when he started coming towards him.
He was really gonna
That
get
looked real.
yeah. I mean, you got to give it to him though, because he did go in there without a plan. He was just like, "All right, that's enough of this bullshit." Come on, Peter. Come on, Peter. Come on, Peter. You can do this. He goes in there, he does it, and she kisses him, and then they get on stage and do a
And then
song.
his voice changed.
Yeah, or he was like,
Oh.
"Well, you know what I'm saying, hey, baby." He's Barry White and Elvis all in one. Then they do this song that they've never rehearsed. I was like, okay, movie. I have suspended my belief enough. This isn't gonna break me. I don't care anymore.
Didn't the Partridge Family do that? Well, they had
That is
songs.
the Partridge Family song.
Yeah.
That's the whole. That was the gag of the Partridge Family bus, and they're dressed
I
like the
didn't see the bus.
Partridge
That's why I
Family.
was so confused
No,
when I
that
saw them
wasn't a
in those
Partridge Family
outfits.
song. That was their song.
I thought it was a Partridge Family song.
No,
It
that
looks
was
like the
their song
Partridge
in the movie.
Family.
Well, huh?
What'd you say?
The way they're dressed, like the Partridge Family.
Well, yeah,
But that was the 70s. When they did those episodes and they were singing, they did. As a matter of fact, the outfits they had in, except they were tighter because they would have been. I was like, oh, that looks awful loose because it's
Yeah.
supposed to be tight and get wide at the bottom. But
Well,
they kind of did a loose
They didn't really
interpretation.
show any like adolescent junk, but they can sure talk about it all they want. Like, fuck that.
Mhm. Hey,
Yeah. So
I was
they
kind
do
of thinking about.
Oh, go ahead.
But I this again. I thought about Crooklyn. I woke up in love this morning. I woke.
Now that was the Partridge Family song.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for that one. Yeah. So they win. They win because the judges as Davey as the
The
monkeys,
monkeys.
and they're just like, we appreciate it. Like, and it's like, and everybody in there is like, the fuck.
And look, the guy reads it. He says, "The
I thought the
Brady."
host was Mike O'Malley for a minute, and then I had to look closer. But I was like, no, that's not
Looking
Mike
for. Thought it was who?
Mike O'Malley.
Oh, from that show with what's her name, Melissa.
What are you talking about?
I don't think she knows.
Yeah,
Right. Well, I was thinking about that show with Melissa McCarthy, when she started with the guy who was a police officer, her husband, the sitcom she was on.
I never saw that, so I don't know. But he was on another sitcom that I forgot the name of. But yeah, they saved the house. The police.
Well, before that, their brakes get cut, and that's when that unnecessary scene happens.
Yeah,
okay, so that wasn't the brakes.
They go to the carjacker. They see him across the way in the parking lot, and he's like, "No, not you guys again."
He was like, "We need you to give us a ride." And the cops come. They were like, "Hey, is this your car?" He was like, "No, it's his." He's like, "Oh, really?" And then again, somehow Bobby pulls rank, which I don't fucking understand. He's like, "Actually, penal code 117."
And he really practiced to be that hall monitor or whatever.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? How do your job? And then I guess they get the motorcade back. They get to say, "Hey, we have the money. Don't sell our house. Suck it, guy." And that's
and that's when all the other neighbors are tripping, talking about, they were mad. He's like, "You should be mad at me because, it's not about money. It's about, this neighborhood and yada yada." And he goes on, and they're like, guess you do have a point there. And when you talk about the Mrs. Whoever who walks around naked in her living room at a certain point in time, and they all know, they're like, "Oh yeah."
Nah,
times,
but
I guess.
At this point, like everything else is kind of just like added a little. I mean, it is added, but that's when the grandma comes in, which is the mom from the old one, and then also at this point, because her grandmother's like doting on Marsha,
she went past her.
She calls it out again, and then she's like, the grandmother's just like, "Shut up!" She said, "Shut up, Jan," or something like that.
Like, she was telling her.
I don't know. It must have gave her the attention she needed. Maybe that's what has been playing, because she was like, "Wow, the voices went away. Thanks, Grandma." And then they traveled to Cindy.
Yeah, the voice ended up with Cindy. She was like, "Why is it always about Jen? Jen?" And I was like, "Oh, come on. That's enough. That's enough, movie." And then we
Yeah.
get the outro, which is them in the little gag of the little squares doing different stuff.
Yeah.
It's mostly Marsha and Marsha fighting with Jan in the one of them, and Bobby is
And then Alice with her S&M outfit on or whatever she had
because
with her
there's a
dress.
point in this movie. There's a point in this movie. There's a point in this movie where she is at the house with I think that same night when they go to look for Jan.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What's his face? And he comes
Comes out in the road.
The meat
her
cutter
little
guy.
outfit. Yeah, she's in her outfit, and he comes out and he's like, "What are you doing here?" He was like, "Oh, I was delivering some meat."
Delivered to me.
Look, if you don't just make this movie rated R, man, come on. What is the point?
Everything.
And then he's like, well, it's a good thing you're here. And then they go
Just completely ignored the fact that your
Nothing
maid
ever
just brought a dude in
Bruh.
to be delivered meat.
We have to let's be.
in a row.
It's just, it's too much. This movie should just give me the R. Make it a fun, disgusting, like Will Ferrell-esque comedy, and let's just move. Let's just go. Let's go with it. Let's make the jokes. Let's do it because it's like you want to. Clearly, the writers want to be able to tell all these weird jokes because in the sequel they kind of do it a little more with the Greg.
Yeah, they do.
Like, not only do they have that awkward scene where they're dressing in the same room, but they kiss
Right.
in the movie. Like, yeah, it's like we're not joking anymore. Like, it's real.
Yeah.
Let's just do it. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the movie.
It was a whole lot of
Nothing.
yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I totally
Oh,
forgot to take my ticker for this episode. Oh no.
Honestly, like, well, are we doing this now? Are we giving our opinions yet?
Yeah, since this was mom, she'll go last. I'll go first. We will.
I want to go first.
No, I'm going first.
Whatever.
I do not like this movie. I think that like it doesn't have the charm that a lot of these other movies have, and it doesn't have like the cast is decent enough, but it doesn't matter because this movie has no direction. Like I feel like I'm watching 6 episodes back to back to back, which I wouldn't do anyway. So it's like I don't want to do it here. Just because you try to force feed them to me in 15 minutes doesn't mean that it's not an episode. You know what I mean? So for me, I would give it like a 3 out of 10. It wasn't really enjoyable, and I don't enjoy it.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of agree with you. I mean, it was cool. I mean, it was fine for just a funny one-time watch, but I'm not gonna say I'd recommend it. It kind of had me flatlined at like thinking it's supposed to get ha ha ha, but then it was like not ha 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 after they make their little jokes or.
It was not ha 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 at all.
It wasn't. Well, at some certain points, I laughed because I'm immature like that. But I'm gonna have to. Yeah, this was. I'm gonna give it a 3.
Yeah, 3 is good.
Wow.
Your movie, your go.
Well, I had seen it before a few times. I don't think I ever sat and watched, like, really sat through an entire time. I watched the most of it. And then you could do that and get a lot from it because of the way, it hits on a lot of nostalgic things. I did not like it. Again, no, I wouldn't put it up there with the best of that type of movie. You know what I mean? Based upon, shows and things like that. Definitely not. However, I still kind of liked it. It's a thing to watch. No, it's not something that I will proactively watch again. If it caught me on a good day and your dad was flicking and was there, we'd probably get stuck on it and watch it. That's just how it is. But if I had to give it a rating, I would give it about a 5.
No, that's fair.
That's fair because you're nostalgic.
Yeah, you have a lot more history with it, so that's one thing. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen the show, but I don't have I've seen this show in the same way I've seen Happy Days. Like it used to come all the time, but I never watched it.
It was just like on, and you couldn't change the channel.
The characters, I got the gist of it, but I never. Yeah, let me
Right.
see.
But not see, and you know the difference because you have shows that you've watched, right? And you're like super invested in the characters in these shows because you kind of, and this is how it is. We know these characters in a way that we, so it is a little bit different. I mean, could they have done better? Sure.
Of
But
course.
they made some marks that, that hit. And so that's why for most people, I think some of them are more successful again because, like, the thing about Charlie's Angels, number one, they had great action. You know what I mean? So that definitely helped, even though they had to throw in all that campy stuff, which was great. So even if you didn't get it per se,
Yeah.
you still would enjoy the movie. But in this case, it was chock full of that,
It was
and
too
that
much.
kind of, yeah.
And I agree. I think the bigger problem because Charlie's Angels Charlie's Angels. I think and Addams Family are probably the best at it, where they just take the movie, take all the campy stuff, but it's still palatable if you've
Right.
never seen it. Like I've never
Right.
watched, I wasn't like a super Addams Family show watcher or anything like. I knew
Right.
of it,
Right.
but I've never seen an episode. But I
Right.
also knew like I watched the cartoon, so I had a
Right.
very different perspective of it. But when I
Right.
watched it, I wasn't like, damn, I'm missing so much. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't feel that with Charlie's Angels. You don't really feel
Yeah.
that with Flintstones. You don't even
Right.
feel that with the Beverly Hillbillies. That movie is
Right.
garbage. But this one is like if you didn't watch the show, there's a lot of that stuff like throughout this entire episode. Your catchphrase has been, well, it was in the show. Well, it was in the show.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I would have never known that. I don't know that shit. Like,
Right. Right.
movie needs to
Right.
be
And so in reality, that's the thing. It kind of played to, so you got to think about people in the 90s for real, in real life at that point. So in 95, I was 27, 28, depending on what time of year. So that's me. And I was on the younger end. And then so people in their 30s and 40s, they were really, there with it. You get what I'm saying? And they're in that the full of life at that time. Those are the people going out watching movies, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So they had the audience for it at that time, which is why they had a sequel. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
but the sequel was good. I enjoyed the sequel because they took all that tongue-in-cheek stuff and finally
They introduced it. So now I think it felt like, well, they tried to. I mean, it's harder to introduce it, but what I'm saying is now they had a basis to work from, and then add on to it basically. What you say?
I was telling John to cut that out. I saw a yawn. Stop
Oh.
that.
I like to run in. No, but
So let's please stop talking about this movie. I don't talk about it anymore. I want to get to next month. We will be celebrating all the mothers in our family, and I think we will be recording on one of those days too. So that'll be fun. I think that's how our first episode,
yeah. Go ahead.
our first episode of when we were doing Dumb Genius we did on Mother's Day, which I thought was
we did.
yeah.
We
So
did.
kind of full circle. Poetic. You guys.
I'm trying to make it poetic.
It is poetic. Let me have this. God.
Okay.
So I didn't even think about that.
Did you guys come up with the thingamajigget?
No,
Oh my gosh.
I have thought about something to myself. We haven't really, because you reminded me.
It doesn't have to be Mother's Day themed. I want you to pick it because you're the mothers.
Oh,
So
It should be Mother's Day theme. It's Mother's Month.
okay. So what would you do? Mother's Month. Chill.
I'm gonna get back to you.
We come on, guys. I challenged you last week, guys. I told you before we.
I know.
Okay. Wait. Mad Mothers.
Mad mothers? Or did you say bad?
Mad.
Well, that could be that's included in that category. Mad mothers, like mothers who aren't your typical kind of mothers.
Okay.
Oh, because mad, crazy, all of that.
You can go, okay, you know what? I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah, I just came up. I don't even know what it came from.
Go cut it out. So, yeah. We'll figure out the order off air. I love saying that.
Okay. Yes.
And yeah, you guys got anything?
Oh, what? In terms of
Just in
a
general.
movie?
Anything else to say before we exit?
Oh,
Oh, hey, I really wish you would have had that sound. You were so unprepared for that because we could have been like,
I know.
here's
It's
a
not working.
story.
We're
of
here.
Amazing Brady.
No.
Yeah, I'm pointing there.
Well, oh no, I mean,
Oh,
Yeah,
you know,
because
over
it's all
here.
opposite. Everything's mirrored. It's
I know.
weird.
I was
yeah.
like, you're over here, here,
It's stupid.
down there.
See, I'm pointing at you,
Duh,
but my
duh,
finger's not doing the thing. I have
duh,
to.
duh, duh, duh.
Mom, Tracy.
I don't want to do reverse controls. I don't like it. All right, unless no one's got anything.
No, we're done.
Let me hit that there applause. Thank you, everybody. You guys were great as always. And
All righty.
we are out of here.